Previously on the chat room with Ig and Tosin.
What do you do? Would you allow the person back into your inner circle? You forgive the person. Yeah, fine. I have to forgive you. But for your sake, do you trust that person? Hello again. Welcome to the chat room with Ig and Tosin. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from.
Hello.
I'm happy you still stuck with us till this episode. That is a good thing, meaning we must be saying something interesting and nobody has switched off yet. And how have you been so far?
I've been good. Great. Thank you. What about you? How have you been?
I'm good. For those that you don't know, we're actually not in the same place. We're actually in different places. So today we are going to be talking about toxic relationships. What is a toxic relationship? IG, do you want to bell the cat?
Well, I think
what is toxic?
I haven't been in a toxic relationship.
I think toxic relationship is when there's a dysfunctional relationship in which is unhealthy. There is someone is being disparaged, somebody's being put down, and there's a lot of gaslighting in the relationship. There's a lot of competition. One person is not always happy for the other. And I think maybe when we use relationship, we're not talking about
in the context of a husband and wife or
friendships.
Friendship
it could be sibling relationships. It could be a boss and an employee, or somebody, a mentor and a mentee. So I think we are looking at the broad spectrum of a relationship. And what I told myself, toxic relationship consists of toxic people. Yeah, because normal
person has to be toxic. Well, how did they get in your sphere of contact in the first place? I mean, if it's friendship, for example.
If you think about friendship, there are different types of friendships. There are parasitic friendships, where somebody is there to take something.
Yeah.
And there are symbiotic.
Well, there's the person who's allowing the other person just take and take, yeah?
Yeah, there is. And I feel, because you have to look at it, somebody is craving. So if you think about it, I can use myself as an example in which I've had toxic friendships, I've had toxic friends. And it came from a place of, since I was a loner, antisocial person as a child, I wanted validation.
Exactly,
and
yes.
I had a neon light flashing on top of my head. Pray, pray, pray. Jesus, pray. And it brought a lot of, maybe not that dramatic, but
very dramatic. Pray, pray, pray.
Yeah, it was a large neon light. I was holding it and saying, I'm a pray. And it brought a lot of people that just saw me as a prey and just took advantage. And you now realize you're doing things just to make sure.
To please them.
To please.
To make sure they're happy. Yeah. And they take advantage of that.
And they take advantage. And you now realize this relationship or friendship is work and is stressing you out because you're like, don't leave me, don't leave me. And the person it's like dangling a carrot. If you do it, I would leave you. So you're trying to fit in a mold that doesn't exist because they keep moving the goalposts every single time.
That's quite fascinating that you're talking about that, because I don't think I haven't been in a situation such as that. Like, I think I'm more, I don't like being stressed. So if I see a relationship is giving me such stress, I just let go of it, because I really value my peace of mind. I value my mental health, and I value my heart. And I don't think I allow people, such people, into my space. I think, toxic people, once I start seeing the signs in them, like I don't allow them in the first place. And if they're already in my space, if they're friends of mine, I always try to believe the best of them first. And if it continues, because signs of toxic people, one, they make you feel bad about yourself. They take advantage of you.
It's always your fault.
It's always your fault, if anything, you're trying to please them constantly. So when I begin to see things like that in a person, I point it out to them. And if it still doesn't change, then I'm like, I can't deal with this.
But haven't you noticed, like you made this statement that I point it out to them, but you always get in trouble for pointing it out to them because they are now, and I guess the way I was, now I've changed, thank God for Jesus, was these were the only people, so I needed validation, and it was more of, you need to do this. You have to. So you look at them, maybe you do something and they change. You're like, okay, I shouldn't do that. Maybe I need to do this. Then you do that and they're happy with you. You're like, oh, okay, this is the way I need to go. Then you realize you're just like a headless chicken running around in circles.
Yes, because you can't really please them, right? You can't really please such people.
Yeah, you can't please such people. Then you now think about, and I think like what you said, you try and give them benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Then you ask yourself, maybe it's me, I'm the problem. Am I the problem? Maybe
well,
I am
the benefit of the doubt I'm talking about. Am I the problem?
I mean, you go through all that.
Okay, yeah.
That is when you now realize this is dysfunctional. And I think there was one, or they always put you down.
They always
maybe maybe you have an achievement. They will look for the worst thing.
Yeah,
like exactly. An example I could give. Yeah, like an example I could give. There was this friend, because my Yoruba is a local language in Nigeria for those that are not from West Africa. I went somewhere and the person was there and the person made a statement in the Yoruba language. I just translated it at the face value. And somebody said, oh, you're looking nice. And the person made this statement in Yoruba. My Yoruba is a bit rusty. So when I got home and I asked my mom, what does this thing mean? My mom was, who said that? I was like, a friend. She said, that person is not your friend. You know, my mom is very quiet. She was like, that person is not your friend. A friend would not make
such a statement.
And I was making excuses. And after a while, I realized that person wasn't my friend. The person, it was more of a parasitic relationship or a friendship.
Yeah, because when you put other people down, there's some people that even when in your achievement, like you said, they find the worst thing in it and point it out at you. Oh, you could have done this better, but you're not focusing on the success of your friend. You're focusing on what they could have done better. What correcting is not a bad thing, right? We're not saying that. But if you're making someone feel smaller than you, putting someone down all the time, saying verbal abuse is what really, that's even something that comes in play. Emotional abuse as well. You're constantly, constantly putting this person down and making them feel bad about themselves. That's one way of knowing that you're a toxic person, and you should stop that, because you don't want to, it's not going to make you feel better about yourself, because if you look at it from your standpoint, you don't feel good about yourself. And that's why you feel the need to put someone else down just to feel better, just to feel good about yourself. And so that goes on in relationship, it goes on in friendship, it goes on in marriages. You see a lot of people who are married and the spouse making the other person feel, down, feel small, and feel bad about themselves just to elevate your own self. That's wrong on all levels. That's wrong on all levels.
Yeah, and I think it's you chipping away that person's confidence.
Of course,
there was this story I heard. How true it is, I'm not sure. That the couple, husband and wife, Christians, born again, tongue talking, but the guy was a toxic person. It went from verbal to emotional to physical.
To physical.
And one day, even though the story is funny, I was like, okay, well, and until a day, he woke up and somebody woke him up, and it was an angel that literally woke him up and warned him, said, you touch her again, you will be dealt with. And he changed his ways. But my thought was, why did it need an intervention of the supernatural for you to change your ways? Meaning you knew what you were doing.
It was wrong, yes.
It was wrong. Yeah. And you now ask yourself, but maybe me playing the other side is, what is the family background? Was that the way they were brought up? Because hurt people hurt people.
Not really.
So you ask yourself,
I don't.
Was that how? Because I know somebody.
Yeah, because, sorry, go ahead.
I know somebody, she actually said it, that when she got married, her honeymoon period, she and her husband was either on the honeymoon or maybe the first 3 months. Her husband and her, they were having an argument. And she said she flipped the table with everything on it and rolled her sleeves like, let's get it on. And the husband was looking at her as in, what did I marry? And she told the husband, you are too peaceful. You are too peaceful. We need to have a kerfuffle. And she just said the husband just went to a corner and was crying. Like, what in the world did I marry? And she didn't realize that in a house, that was how they solved conflicts. It had to go down.
Wow.
And she told, and this was honeymoon period. So you now ask yourself, is there a dysfunctional background, dysfunctional family? And another thing is, when toxicity is in the family, maybe husband and wife, that's fine, but parent to child.
Yeah, those could be factors that contribute to it. But I think also that people are different. I read about the story of an American man, and he was telling his story, right? He's a police officer, or he served in the army, and his father, someone was doing a research on them, this guy and his brother. His brother was a criminal, or was a criminal in jail, and he served in the army. And then this person writing the story interviewed both of them, that we came from the same home, the same family, have the same dad, and but totally different lives. And the writer said he was surprised at what they said. He said when he interviewed the brother in jail, that one said, my dad was very abusive. My dad was a criminal. He was in the gang, and he had the worst life ever. And he said, with a father like that, how could I have turned out any different? Mm-hmm. And when he interviewed the one who was doing very well, who was in the army and everything, he said the same thing, that my father was abusive. My father had no ambition. My father was not disciplined. My father was a criminal. With a father like that, how could I have turned out to be anything else? So you see, both of them, they have different,
the same experience,
the same dad, but different outcomes. But they're saying the same thing. With a father like that, how could I have turned out any different? So I think it also has to do with choice. Some people, you have the same experience, but you decide.
I think I'm going to play the other side. Like you said, people have different temperaments. Kids are different. Some might be sensitive, some might be hard. So just imagine the emotional trauma, because I believe a lot of people have trauma.
Of course, yes.
And they just pushed it down, and you now see it pop up in different aspects of their life.
Yes.
Like there was this thing, like I went on a question site, and a lady asked a question. And I think it's kind of like, I think this will sound a warning to parents that do this to their kids, because they're setting up your kids for failure. She said she told the son, if you get A in all your subjects, I'll get you a PS5. And the son got an A, but she said, I do not want to buy the PS5. Now, one guy responded and said, a lot of people responded, and when you read the response, he all had the same thing. They say you're setting up your child for a hard life in life or failure because of you keep moving the goalpost. Okay, it's not A asterisk, then you move it again. If you do this, the child, after a while, will tell himself, what's the point? I'm never going to get it.
Yeah.
So I don't know any parent or anybody out there, you tell your child, if you do this, I'm going to give you this, but you never keep
You
the
don't keep
promise.
your word. Yeah, that's.
And you're setting up, because the child, because of you are the first role model your child has. You are the person.
Yeah.
And if my father is telling me, because indirectly they're telling the child, you're not good enough. You keep moving the post. Because why aren't I getting the prize?
Why
aren't
do
I getting
that in the first place? I think that's mean. I think that's
It
really
is
mean.
mean.
Yes, because I mean, and it also teaches your child not to trust you, not to trust your
I
word.
trust anyone. And it's
Yeah.
like, why should I put in effort when I'm not going to get it?
Yeah, what's the whole point
What's the whole point?
So
yes, I think if you're doing that, stop.
yes, stop that. That's really mean. And
It's really, really mean, because you're telling the child adults cannot be trusted. Nobody keeps their word.
yes, and kids are so innocent that the first
Yeah,
thing they and I mean you that's really mean, and it should be stopped really if you do that. And I don't think that's a good thing to do.
And I think another thing is people that use banter. I'm just joking, especially with kids. Oh, your big head. Look at you and your, because I used to get made fun of on my forehead, that I have a huge forehead. And it made me very self-conscious.
Oh no, you own it.
And as a child, I was, do you understand? And these were adults. And when you complain, why are you so sensitive? It's a joke, it's banter, it's you. Then they turn around to you, it's your fault. You are just too sensitive. Can't you get it was just a joke? So then it was just.
I'll say something concerning that, yes, for kids, that's why it's important for parents, we're talking about parenthood, about how you communicate with
like toxic relationship. Now we're looking at parent to child.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is for you to build your child's self-confidence, their self-esteem. I have an auntie who does that. She has 2 great kids, beautiful children, girls. And the way she talks to them, communicates with them, builds their self-esteem. If anyone does anything outside to try to put them down, they have the support at home. They have the mom at home who's building them up. And that's the best way to bring up anyone, not even just your kids, but at work, your friends. If you want to have a great personality, that's one of the things you can do. Build up other people with your words, with how you act with them, with what you say to them, with your actions. Because there's too many people, and I would say this, it's the same thing I've been saying. It comes from a place of you not liking yourself. If you treat other people badly, and that's why when people treat me badly, my first reaction is not, what have I done? I'm just like, this person really has a problem, because it stems from there. So I think that's, so if you work on yourself, like you develop yourself, you treat yourself good, you treat other people good as well. That's what I strongly believe.
Because like what you said, which is true, it's, you have an inferiority complex, and you
do,
feel, oh, this person is getting too big for their boots. I need to pull them down.
That's what they say about bullies, right?
Yeah, they are. Let's say toxic people are indirectly bullies.
They're bullies, yeah, and that means that you got a problem somewhere.
Should that be our next topic? Bullying? That's a nice one.
I don't think so.
But I was bullied as a child. I don't decide, why did I meet all this
crazy? Yeah, exactly. Where did you meet these crazy people from?
There were nasty people, there were mean people, and there were plain evil people.
You tell us what you think. What causes people to be toxic? What gives them this toxic character? Why do they treat others badly? And I feel it's coming from a place of who they are. They are not treating themselves good. They don't feel good about themselves, so they feel they have to put down others. So you tell us what you think.
I want to come up with a suggestion. I'm not sure if you like it. Part 2, what should you do with toxic people? Should you cut them out of your life, or should you love them at a distance? That's a good one.
Okay, so we'll see. Thank you so much for being here with us in our conversation. And this is the chat room with Tosin and IG. And we're looking forward to seeing
chat room with IG and Tosin.
The chat room with IG and Tosin. So look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And from us, have a great life.
A great week and a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye. Next time on the chat room with IG and Tosin.
I think it's dependent. I think it's on a case by case. So we're not trying. I think maybe we should put this disclaimer out there. This is not an advice. Before anybody says, they told me to do this.
They told me.
No, we did not tell you to do anything.